Welcome back to the Taboo Couch, the place where weird meets wonderful and shame gets its knickers down. I'm Lily, joined by the beautifully brash Babushka. Hi, Babushka.
Hi, Lils. How you doing, girl?
Yeah, we're good. I'm excited for tonight. And tonight we're going to be talking about something that's either your guilty pleasure, your worst nightmare, or your ex's search history. DDLG. Bratting and age play. It sounds like a part of the movie. It's PG. It's definitely not PG.
It sounds like an energy company.
DDLG. Now this stands for Daddy Dom, Little Girl. They're not daddy as in like Father's Day, by the way.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, who's your daddy? Definitely, yeah. It's a kink dynamic where one partner takes on a caregiver role, think like rules, rewards, routines, and the other becomes the little, acting younger, seeking nurture, structure, in many cases, intimacy. Now, this includes stuff like cuddles, being told what to wear, having a set bedtime, being tucked into bed, being called a good girl for eating your peas. Sometimes it's sexual, but sometimes it's not. Now, bratting, I mean, I think that says it all, doesn't it? Bratting is when the submissive acts out on purpose, like a spoilt child, playfully disobeying the rules, getting attention, pushing boundaries, or provoke a little discipline.
Lil, I think you're a brat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I am actually, you know.
Oh, seriously? I'm diagnosing, I'm conceptualizing you here.
Oh, yeah. So it's like, it's just look beyond the kind of pigtails and daddy fantasies and let's dive into what's actually going on psychologically. And this is where Babs comes in. She's the best at this.
We are going to talk you through things you definitely do not want to bring up at Sunday lunch, especially if you're around at your nan's.
Yeah.
Today we're talking cuddling up with teddy bears, we're talking tantrums, and we're talking a whole lot of daddy energy. That's right. Today we're diving into the wonderfully controversial world of DDLG. That's bratting, age play, and what it really means when someone calls their partner daddy and then throws a hissy fit at bedtime.
It's a whole new meaning to wait till your dad gets home.
Who
doesn't say that to their kids? Wait till your dad gets home.
Well, remember, was it last week or the week before? Somebody in the G7, I think it was, maybe it was Viktor Orban from Hungary. He called Trump daddy.
Oh, that's, yeah. You would not want Trump to be your daddy. Personally, I wouldn't.
No. Make daddy great again.
I wouldn't want him to be, I wouldn't want to be his little. No.
No, I would not want to be his submissive.
No.
But according to a 2023 survey by Kinkly, over 34% of kinksters say they've explored some kind of age regression or caregiver role. Meanwhile, 100% of 100% of brats say they're not being annoying, they're being cute.
Now, I think of brats. I think of brats. So, you know, when your kids were little and they have a tantrum?
Yes.
It's not the same thing, though, is it?
Not quite.
No.
Not literally about being a child. It's more of a consensual power dynamic where one person takes a caregiver role and the other plays a more submissive, childlike persona. Now, bratting is when a submissive acts out. That's they're teasing, they're pushing the boundaries, and all of this is done playfully to get attention. It's about discipline or affection. Basically, chaos with a pout. Mwah.
So just about like having a tantrum to get what you want?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh gosh, as I'm thinking about several adults I know already.
I think lots of people do bratting then, surely.
Well, apparently, age play and little play, they both fall under the umbrella of role play involving regression, but it's not necessarily in a sexual way. And again, you know, we want to make this clear in our podcast on the Taboo Couch. This is about activity between consenting adults.
Adults, yeah, good, yeah.
Some of it is sexual activity, some of it is non-sexual activity, but it's all consensual, and it's all with adults. It's nothing to do with pedophilia.
Nothing to do with children at all.
No, at all. This fantasy is about vulnerability, care, and control. I like the way you do that, Lils. Do that again.
It's my curious noise. The way you did it then, it just makes it sound like it's a sexual noise. It's not, is it? Because it's like when I eat my dinner. Now, next time I eat my dinner, I'm going to think of you.
As long as I'm not your dinner.
That's next week's topic, isn't it?
Oh, wow. So the thing about this this kink is it's about, you know, expressing resistance in a safe place if you're a brat, and it's about, you know, empowerment and control if you are the daddy. And it's about, you know, it's about being sassy, it's about being, you know, slightly teasing, it's about being, you know, pushing back on the boundaries that the adult persona wants to impose on the child persona. And sometimes this fantasy can be healing. You know, a lot of what people are going through are issues that arise out of their childhood, their early life experiences, and sometimes it is adverse life experiences.
I mean, you've got the little girl thing. I'd imagine someone quite vulnerable, you know, daddy do this for me, daddy do that for me, or whatever. But the brat is a bit like, get me that now, I want that now, I want that, my dinner now, I'm not going to bed. It's that kind of thing of the brat. So there's a difference. The little girl thing is maybe more nurturing, because like we said about, you know, being put to bed, tucked in. This may not be a sexual thing. We're not saying it's sexual.
No. And pet names for, you know, the kind of little girl person could be, you know, little one, princess, maybe she calls, you know, her dom, she calls him daddy. You know, there will be some rituals and routines, you know, like bath time, story time. There could be rules, you know, like no swearing, early bedtime for bad behavior. No phones after 8 p.m.
There definitely will be a brat then.
Adults a tantrum.
I mean, in my time, I've met friends or acquaintances over time who may be in their early sort of 20s, and they're looking for a daddy. Do you call them sugar daddies? Were these sugar daddies years ago?
I think they're still called sugar daddies, aren't they? And there are sugar babies. Well,
and I always thought that, you know, people in their 20s are looking for someone like 45 as such, and just see him as their daddy.
Sugar babies, you know, they just ask for stuff, and there are people who will just give them stuff.
Oh, wow. I think I've seen something like this online where people will just go on and go, I want to go out and I need some money. And they'll just give them money. And there's no contact between these people.
No. And a sugar baby is someone of any gender who engages in a relationship, typically with an older or wealthier person. So it's a sugar daddy, a sugar mama, a sugar provider. You know, it's someone who provides financial and material support in exchange for companionship. You know, or emotional intimacy. And sometimes there is some sex.
I mean, I watched, as you know, I've watched lots of documentaries, and one that I watched, there was a girl, and she had quite a few daddies, and she was in like her mid-20s. They didn't see her. This was all online. So it'd be like a chat room, and she'd say, I'm going out now. So she'd type on there, I'm going out now and I need money. And there'll be several men saying, I'll give you money. How much? That's pathetic. And they got off on the degrading as well.
But it's a power exchange, Kim. You know, and it's also about, you know, financial domination. You know, for some people, it's like a strategic relationship choice. It can be economic aspirational or emotionally motivated, and for some people it's part of sex work.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's no contact there. It's quite abusive, but they are not taking the money. They are receiving the money, but they're not stealing it, if that makes sense. So they're just giving them, but they're wanting to feel needed, but it's quite abusive. It's not like, oh, please, can I have some money? This side of it is quite aggressive. It's like, is that all I'm worth? That's pathetic. I'm going to go somewhere else. But they don't actually have any physical contact. And I saw, it's very interesting. I saw a man literally empty his bank account. He showed her his bank account and she said, empty it. And he did. And my concern after being, typical me was like, how's he going to feed himself? How is he going to eat now? But for her, and they interviewed her and said, how do you feel? And she said, but you're seeing me as the bad person, but that's what they want. This is all consent. They're coming here. It's all consensual. I don't have their bank details. I'm not drawing it out. They're transferring it to me.
And I guess these are where the boundaries start getting blurred.
Yes.
Between what is consensual and when does it start to, dovetail or slide into abuse, because you're exploiting someone because you know their weakness.
Yes. But I say these are willing sites that people go on to. I'd like to think that they're probably telling porkies they've not wiped out all their bank account. And what is going on for them, but it is all consensual. But this is very much like you're describing the brat. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. But I think for, some people who are in this kink, it really is just about, non-sexual, tactile, feelings and emotions and needs, and it's about wanting to regress and cuddle up, and maybe they're touching another adult or being held by another adult, or sometimes it involves these great big stuffy animals, not furries like we were talking about last week.
Not last week,
And people just want to feel held emotionally, and this is something to do with a really basic human need.
And I wonder whether, this DDLG and stuff, whether it's you book it on a Friday night. Like, is it all the time? So, like, you live this role, or is it just certain nights? Like, for example, I'd like to think that if you're playing the little girl and you're playing the daddy, that, being tucked up in bed, we've not found any sexualness of this. Again, it's not promoting or glamorizing paedophilia in any way at all. So whether it's like you just do that part-time or you go somewhere to do that, so your partner might just one day dress up as a little girl in pigtails and just want to be fed and tucked into bed, and that's it, and then you go off to your bed and whatever, but you are in a relationship, but just it's like cosplay as such, just for that evening.
I think there are relationships where this is a big feature. And I think, we're trying to help people who are our audience understand maybe what goes on behind closed doors.
Yes.
What is it that we get up to? All of us, some of us, none of us.
And that's the big thing. That's the taboo subject. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
So listeners, if you're out there, send us some comments. Tell us what you're doing behind closed door. Are you the little girl? Are you the daddy?
Yes. And how did you come up with that? Were you in a long-term relationship?
And how did you find somebody with whom you could do this consensually?
Yes. And did you start maybe by going to a service, where a lot of these people who've got kinks, maybe they go somewhere where they feel safe to test them. So whether that's clubs or you pay for that service, and then once you become more confident and you realise, wow, this is really a world, then you meet somebody.
Interesting. I want us to open our inbox because I've got a couple of comments come through.
Yes.
One says, my boyfriend wants me to call him daddy in bed, but it freaks me out. Am I broke? What are your thoughts on that one, Lils?
Yeah, I think I'd be freaked out a little bit. But it is a big thing. I don't know. I think for me, it would think, because then I would, you visualize your dad and you think about that. But for them, I don't think they're actually, it's a power trip for a man to say, you know, it's that saying, isn't it? Who's your daddy? Yeah.
I mean, for me, I don't think this person is broken. I just think it's, you know, kinks are optional. They're not mandatory. This is a choice. So I'm wondering why this person might think they're broken. But I would suggest, you know, if you do feel that way, talk it through. Find language that works for you and your daddy person. You know, in schools, adults are called grown-ups. Who's your grown-up? If daddy feels weird, maybe try sir or, you know, coach. Big spoon commander.
And maybe sort of talk about that before. Maybe make jokes, but don't just wait until you're really in that intimate moment, because that could be quite shocking. So I don't think there's anything wrong in that. But, you know, maybe ease them in a little bit before you start using that.
Someone else has sent us a question. How do I brat without getting dumped? And I think you already answered that one, but carry on.
Interesting. I think that depends how long you've been in the relationship and how well you know someone. You don't want to brat too early unless they like that.
It's like I don't want to peak too early.
Exactly. You don't want to brat too early. You know, and I think also just coming out, like again, the daddy warning. If you've had that conversation, you know, but to all of a sudden get it, and if you're in this relationship and all of a sudden the girlfriend starts having a tantrum, you could be running for the hills.
I think you're right, Lils. Talk about these things.
Yes.
Test the waters. Do a bit of
role play. Yeah.
Yes, some playful, you know, back talk, some cheeky resistance.
Yes.
Start small and build up.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, you know, I hear what you're saying, Lils, and I think, you know, that could be seen as being quite rude.
Yeah.
Quite challenging.
You know, just test it. You know, have a little tantrum or something and laugh about it and see his reaction. He might be like, "Oh, test the waters. Don't might be leaving you otherwise, packing the bags, going."
So can you imagine if your partner's quite vanilla and then you start acting out? And I think, you know, age play brings up a lot of, you know, judgment. And even other kinksters can be, you know, really judgmental.
Yes.
So I think, you know, we have to remember that, you know, this is all within the context of consent and boundaries.
And I think it's like anything. If you say, right, we're going to have sex tonight at 6 o'clock, that's very boring. So I think that needs to come up in conversations. You're not just going, when you come home from work tomorrow, I'm going to have a tantrum. But you need to try, you know, it sort of spoils it, doesn't it, really? But you could say, you know, just sort of test the waters with it. Just have a little playful tantrum or being a brat and see how they react to it. And just, you know, like, do you like that?
Yeah.
Don't go full blast into having a tantrum. I want this now. That might not work.
And I think the other thing to remember is, you know, that not everyone who's, you know, the submissive, the little person, is female, and not all daddies are men.
Yes.
And I think we need to kind of, you know, help people to understand that these roles are flexible, they're gender fluid, they're, you know, they're not gendered or heteronormative.
Yeah, I was watching an episode with two guys that were in a relationship, and one of them was daddy. So yeah, so they had I didn't know if they was the little girl or the little boy. That didn't sort of come out, but like I said to you, there are people who do have that kind of daddy relationship, as in you're the boss.
Interesting. I think in, you know, maybe in other cultures where, you know, men are the dominant partners. I think, you know, places like Japan where, you know, the little girl image is so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, what I've often wondered, what is that all about?
That vulnerability. I mean, let me ask you, if you was with somebody, male or female, and they said, "Can I call you mummy?" when you was in the throes of passion, how would you feel? Because I don't think I don't think I could cope with that. And that's really stereotypical me, because I know there are lots of people who like the daddy side. But if there's any viewers out there that works the other way, if there's a male out there that likes to call his partner mummy, and maybe it's that nurturing, or it could be that mummy was the dominant one, like what's going on there? We're automatically thinking again, it's daddy and a little girl. What about the mummy? It's like the mummy's boy, isn't it? I know personally, I don't know if I'd be able to cope with that.
I'm not sure I'd be comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
But if
Really.
there's anybody who's out there listening right now who wants to put something in the comments that could help our understanding, help the understanding of other listeners, we'd be really happy to hear from you. So get your fingers out, hit your keyboard and send us your comments.
Yes, taboocouch@gmail.com. I mean, going back to that, you know, the mum, you know, if someone call you mummy, now, if you wasn't feeling very well and you know, you look after your partner and you tuck them up, look, you know, I'm forever doing that. You know, I'll be like, right, you sit down, there's a blanket, there's a pillow, that kind of mothery, nurturing thing. And they'd be like, oh, thanks, mum, in a joking way. But I think we're really going down the daddy little girl. So if there are people out there the other way round, same-sex relationships as well.
Yes.
Please let us know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the whole thing around the kind of the mummy's boy thing, you know, maybe kind of enmeshed from, you know, overly dependent attachment.
Yeah.
Or, you know, when it's, you know, the mother kind of using her son as an emotional partner, you know, that's incest, because that's blurring adult and child roles, and you know that could lead to challenges for you know, in adult relationships, setting boundaries. You know, it could lead to idealization and resentment of female partners, and you know, it can also lead to kind of shame around masculinity, autonomy, and sexual identity. You know, and I guess the big question that we can ask right now is, what role did mum play in your emotional world? And who is unconsciously trying to reattach to or rebel against? Yeah.
And it may be they lost their mum. And they're looking for someone to fulfill that. I mean, you know, it's you hear that sometimes, I'm not your mother.
Yes.
I'm not going to do this and this like your mum. But that's how you've grown up. There's nothing sexual in that. And same as this act.
I think there's a real intersection between, you know, being a mummy's boy and kink, and it's, you know, often misunderstood. You know, and from the perspective that we're coming at this, you know, as counselors in training, you know, we'd be looking at, you know, attachment dynamics and power play and regression and maternal eroticism, and there's this great, you know, kind of intersection.
And I think also they do say sometimes, you know, if you've got you do maybe partner with somebody who's like your father, not necessarily looking like your father, but has those same qualities. There's nothing wrong with that. If and you know, somebody, you might look at qualities in a partner that's like your mother or like your father, but not necessarily looks wise, but because they are good qualities that you grew up with. That's your safe space.
That's interesting. Expatiate.
Well, I just think if you've had this nurturing, loving, kind of supportive relationship with your parents, then those qualities they've instilled in you, you're going to look for those in a partner, in a lifelong partner. I mean, it's a bit different if you actually meet someone who looks exactly like your father or exactly like your mother, then that's more of a physical attraction. But looking for those qualities in personality, they were your safe space. They make you laugh. They make you feel safe. I can understand that.
And I guess I'm wondering if I'm hearing you correct, because I'm kind of getting a sense of, you know, being a mummy's boy allows the submissive, you know, to receive care without needing to kind of perform adult masculinity. But there is a term for this. It's called MDLB, and it's mummy dom little boy dynamics. And again, it's about caregiver and little person roles. And again, it's non-gendered, so very fluid.
Right.
Again, regression plays a part here, or an emotionally dependent state. And we also have aspects of erotic maternal dominance, you know, a mummy who disciplines, nurtures, and controls. And these are big issues that, you know, as mothers, we have with children. How do we balance all of these things so that we, you know, raise people who are emotionally regulated? And also, how do we, you know, raise people who also are able to reach maturity and be, you know, their whole self, whatever that means for them.
It's very interesting. It's a bit like I think, I don't know if we've spoke about this before, but people being dominated, and it's only women that I've seen dominating men to clean their house.
Yes.
Yeah. And really abuse them if they don't do it properly. And men pay for this. This is not men that are being, you know, emotionally or physically abused. They're actually paying for this service. Sometimes they dress up in maids' outfits, but I've seen them on their hands and knees, cleaning toilets, being screamed at. Nothing physical, no hurting, but being screamed at and saying, you've not done that good enough. And pay a lot of money to clean somebody's house in a maid's outfit. And just yes, mistress, no, mistress.
What do you understand about lactation fetishes and that kind of nurturing submission? Because, you know, at the heart of this is, you know, a kink that's kind of all about warmth and power and intensity and control, kind of, I don't know, soft domination meets strict affection.
Yeah. Well, I watched another program. I seem to have watched loads over the years, where a woman who was lactating, and I think they'd had a baby years and years before, but because obviously if you constantly stimulate it, you'll constantly be able to produce milk. And this woman produced milk for years and years and years, and would travel all around Europe with her partner to offer her breast milk and this nurturing service. So grown men would latch on, and that's how she kept her milk producing. There was nothing sexual in that. It was a real nurturing. And that leads me to, what was there something missing in their life before?
Well, I guess, again, you know, we're going back to, you know, emotional and physical safety and
attachment,
security and attachment. And as that child grows, you know, the mother figure is disciplining with tenderness or, you know, sensual dominance. Because and I heard you mention sexual, but there's also something sensual about this. And it's, you know, a kind of a power reversal almost. The adult becomes dependent and the caregiver is in control, and that adult who is dependent voluntarily gives up their control, you know. But how, you know, do we kind of balance this kind of, you know, social transgression of, you know, our rules and laws, and, you know, that this is a taboo subject. Most people will not be talking about this by the water cooler or anywhere else. No,
you're definitely not. And there are so many taboo topics to talk about. So many.
I think the thrill of this one is about the blurring of the kind of maternal role with erotic ones. And when we're talking DDLG and Little Girl, it's about the blurring of the father role with eroticism. I think it's a real tightrope.
I do, and I think are we looking at older men and younger women? But it doesn't seem to be that from my research. It seems to be just same age, kind of. It's nothing to do with an age thing. It's about the role that you're playing.
Yeah.
Rather than you being a younger person, say like a 50-year-old man and an 18-year-old girl, because we're hoping it's all consensual. It doesn't seem to be that.
So I think I'm stumped. I think I wonder Freud on this.
I think it's gonna have to go Freud.
The daddy of psychoanalysis.
I'm just wondering whether in relationships, and you've been a mum all your life and you've brought up these children and you've got this husband, you're like, do you know what? It's now time for me to be cared and looked after. So if there are any couples out there that you've been in a long-term marriage and now the dynamics change where you're getting looked after, you're getting nurtured, you've given your life to this family, bringing up these children, and your husband's been at work and now he's going to now play the fatherly role to look after you. Could there be people out there who's like that?
I think my thinking would be more that it is men who need the mothering figure.
Do you think so? But then where's the brat come from?
We need to go back to the drawing board on this one.
Yeah.
And I think we need to use some psychodynamic exploration, to unpack, these kind of maternal relationships and unresolved attachment needs for mummy's boys and for daddy's girls, or whatever the complement of the relationship is. Not the complement, the components.
Yes, the components of the relationship. And I think we really need people to come on, because I'm seeing older people now doing this rather than younger. I'm seeing same age, whereas I don't know whether you're thinking maybe an older man and a younger girl. I think this could even be an older woman and a younger man. I think this could be really broad.
We need to hear from the audience. And remember, this is not always about the kink. It's about what the kink allows them to feel.
Yes. What you get from it.
Yes. So, as a counselor in training, if I'm working with someone who comes to me with these issues, what I want to do is help that person understand that, my therapy room is a shame-free, accepting space.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack what's going on for you. We're going to unpack, what's happened in your past, what's unresolved. Are there issues of shame, dependency, or emasculation, or what's going on for you? Let's understand that. And then let's look at, how do you want to move forward? Is this something that is a need for you?
Yeah. And it might not necessarily they're bringing that problem. That might be part of them. So they might be coming to you because they've got a stressful job, and then that will come up about the submissive and the DDLM with their partner. So that may not be why they're coming to you. So we're not going to analyse and automatically assume,
it's what your issue is. It's like adult empathy or deep emotional wiring. No.
Yeah, you're not going to tell us all your hobbies and all your life, and we're going to actually say that's why you're like that. Not at all. When any counsellor does, we shouldn't be there to judge you on that. It's what you think around that.
Yeah. Somebody's just sent in a comment. It says, my partner wants to be breastfed. Should I be worried or buy a bottle?
Depends, are you lactating? Is it the milk, or is it just a role play? Yeah, is it a role play?
So what happens if he calls her mummy in bed and then forgets her birthday?
And I think, what would you do? You've been together for a long time and then this changes, like I said before, and if it's a one-off, it would unnerve a lot of people.
I think this is possibly one of the most controversial subjects we've touched on, because it bangs up against the boundaries of so many things that are socially acceptable or not.
And I think, like I said to you before, about going into couples counselling, and you've got a couple in front of you, and whatever they're doing, as long as it's consensual and they're not in any life-threatening situations, then if they're coming to you with issues around other things, and then this is part of their life, and there is no problems with that, and this is just something they're going to explore with you, then we don't need to further develop that. We're not going to say, well, actually, that part of your relationship is affected by that. The counsellor is not going to judge you on that.
No. Counselling is about helping you to understand yourself so you can be your best self to yourself and to those around you.
And if you've got a couple in front of you and they are both consenting, both very happy in that part of your life, their life, brilliant. But it might just be you're fed up because they don't do the washing up, or you're fed up because of this, or you're worried they work too hard. And there could be other things in the relationship.
Yeah.
It's just really important that people understand that the whole part of your relationship they may want to know about, to get an overall picture, but they're not going to assume and go, that's why they don't do the washing up, because you act like that, or you don't do this.
Lils, if someone asked you to do the washing up and cracked the whip if you kind of threw a tantrum.
Now, listen, are we building up to this? Because if that was part of role play, that's completely different. But if it's all of a sudden, I didn't do the washing up one night and they came in with the whip, I think I'd be leaving.
Because that sounds like abuse.
It does.
Really important as a couple, as a throuple, as a polyamorous group to talk about these things.
Yes.
Get consent. Agree.
Yes.
Agreement. Know your limits. Know your safe spaces.
Exactly.
Because
always consent.
Yeah, because it's easy to violate the boundaries in relationships, especially if you don't know where they are.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's something that you build up to. I mean, I think lots of things like, you walk past someone and give them a crack round the bum. Oh, that was nice.
Isn't that just loving playfulness?
Yes. But then to walk in and go, you haven't done the dinner and he's going to whip me. Then no, we haven't discussed that first. I like the spontaneity of, things happening and stuff like that. But no, I do not want somebody. There's no consent. I know it sort of ruins the spoiling of it if you have to talk about it. But I think these are adult conversations. We should talk about things.
Yeah. And I think we're always about a conversation that helps other people to have better conversations, because that's a big part of counseling, helping us to understand how we communicate with ourselves. What's our self-talk? How do we communicate with others? And when we are exploring ourselves, our sexuality, our sexual preferences, how do we communicate that then to those people who we're in intimate relationships with? Because ultimately we want people to be in healthy intimate relationships with themselves and with others.
And you just hit the nail on the head. Communication. Most businesses, most working partnerships, most relationships break down because of communication. And the clients that we see and the clients that we will see in the future, it's all about communication.
Yeah.
But it's also hard to bring up those things. You've been in this loving relationship, but you've got this deep desire, which you think it's a bit of a fetish, it's a bit of a weird kink. How do I bring that up?
Well, I'm coming home tonight and I'm putting on my onesie and I've got my big bottle and I've got my big pacifier and I'm lying on the settee, kind of wrapped up in my baby blanket. Okay, let's take things from there.
Yes. But how do you bring up whips and chains and, stuff like, how do you start those conversations? I think for me, what I would do is I would make up a fictional person. There's a lady in work and her husband came home the other night and said, blah, blah, blah. What would you do? That's how I would start a conversation if I wasn't confident enough to say, this is what I want.
It's like a brilliant strategy.
Oh, I do.
I was doom scrolling through YouTube or Spotify for something
or Reddit,
or Reddit, or Twitter,
anything.
X.
Yes.
And I came across this and I thought, oh my word, I've got to talk about this with Simon.
Yes, exactly. And it's like dipping your toe in. Yes. Dipping your toe in. That's what it is. Testing the waters. And again, as long as everyone's happy, we are flexible. Humans, we have to be. There will be certain things in marriages and relationships that are not quite you. but we want to please our partner.
And that's a real challenge if one of you is vanilla and the other one's
Mhm.
more of a raspberry ripple or a Neapolitan.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So definitely conversation is key.
100%. And that's why people go to couples counselling, because they cannot communicate and they need that person to mediate. In all the counselling therapies that I've watched, and I love those programs, it's your counsellor is there to hold the space.
Yeah.
The work goes on between the pair of you. You feel like they're going to give you the answers. They're actually not.
And most people who come to counselling, from my experience, have got some issues around how they communicate with their loved ones.
Yes.
And what they say to themselves about themselves,
Yeah.
their negative self-talk.
Yes. That's a massive thing.
And
That's
then,
why I look in the mirror every morning, Lily, and Babushka, and say, Lily, you're absolutely stunning.
I look in the
Self-talk.
mirror every morning and I say to myself, big, brash babushka.
Yeah.
Carpe diem. Go and seize the day.
Exactly. If you say it enough, it becomes true, you know.
Yes. Because we all want to develop that courage to be ourselves.
Yes.
And that's what we want to help our audience understand.
Yeah.
For those of you who, had that courage, please put your experiences in the chat. How did you get there? Because nobody, gets up, no one's born and is suddenly a warrior,
Yes.
for their own needs, their best, advocates. So help us understand what you've been through to express who you really are, to be your genuine, authentic, actualized self.
Some of the strongest people you meet have battled the worst wars, the worst battles, and come out the other side.
I'll never forget the first time I listened to something about a man called Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps he went through, and what it was about his psychological perspective.
Yes.
The
power of the mind.
Yeah. How do you see yourself? How do you value yourself? How do you value those around you? What are you communicating by what you say and what you don't say? When you walk into a room, when you walk into a space, what energy are you bringing?
Yeah.
Do you make people want to walk out the room, or do you make people want to come and sit down and converse with you?
Yes.
Do you scare people? Do you intimidate? Are you aware?
How do you feel about faking it till you make it? I love that saying.
I think it has value.
I do. I think it does have value, but as long as you're being true to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah? That's what we
the main thing.
Want to be. That's who we're trying to learn to be.
Yes.
That's why we have counselling and we have supervision.
Yes. Yeah, you must be true to yourself. I know, like you said, I was joking. You wake up in the morning and go, do you know what? You're absolutely beautiful. But it's all right to wake up some days and go, you're not today. Today is not the day and you are not the one. And that's fine, because the sun does not shine bright every day. And as long as you can own that.
Yeah.
And bounce back. And that could be in anything. You could have had sometimes we just have that knock-on effect. You get up and everything goes wrong. And I say this to clients sometimes, where sometimes it's how we perceive things. You wake up in the morning, put your tights on, Babushka, and you put your foot right through them. The tights are ruined, right? And then you think, what a day. You go out to the car, you can't get out of the car park because someone's parked behind you. You're then driving along the road.
Every traffic light is red.
Every traffic light is red. And it's like, I do think the power of the mind, of the positivity, is once you think that's it, it's going to be a bad day. It's not a bad day. It's a bad moment.
But do you know what? When those bad days come at 5 p.m., I go home and I put on my little girl dress. I'm looking for my daddy.
And that's what it is, because you've had a rough day. And maybe that's what it is. I've had to be strong all day and I've had enough. I just want to put my little dress on, have my hair in pigtails.
And let someone look after me.
Yes. And let someone look after you. It's not, listen, this may be sexual. This is why I want to hear from our audience, because it could just be, I'm tired, I'm this really powerful person. And lots of people, lots of men in really high powered jobs, judges, very powerful CEOs of companies, everybody says yes to them. Everybody's scared of them and the power dynamics. And they often use services where they're like a child. And there's a big thing about babying and putting grown men in baby grows and nappies and bottle feeding them. And there is nothing sexual in it, just somebody else to look after me instead of me holding up everything.
Yeah.
And dare I say, I think Donald Trump may be one of those. I could see him in a baby grow.
I remember when he was being doing the election campaign, and there were all those big blow up balloon things.
Yes.
Of him in the nappy with the dummy.
Yes, see, that's what it is. I think, these powerful men, you have to take on so much. Where do you let that go? Everybody says yes to you all the time.
I think he's just a brat in a suit.
Well, that's the brat that we see. That's what he shows the world. I'm just wondering behind the closed door what he is. Anyway, we'll stop there with that. I see that conversation could go somewhere else. And we do not want to offend any American Trump
supporters.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
So, Lils, final thoughts on our conversation today.
I've learned a lot about DDLG. I think I'm really intrigued though on hearing different perspectives from people. I don't know how I would feel if it's a sexual kind of relationship with someone being a little girl or a little boy. That's something completely different. So I'm not going to assume that is that. From the research I find, it's not anything sexual. And so I'm really interested to hear about that. So I don't want to pass any judgment on there, but it's been really interesting.
I've really enjoyed, this conversation today. I think, as we go deeper into the world of kink and what's different about some groups of people and their preferences.
Yes.
How do they express that? How do they meet people who are interested in the same thing? They introduce that. Where do they go for, a night out?
Yeah.
Are there places, clubs, underground places where people can go? And as you said, there are services where this is offered online. All you need to do is just, Google.
Yeah. I wonder if there's like an adult nursery. Giant cots.
Did you say cots?
Cots. COTS, babushka.
Lils.
They could be giant. But you're literally giving me that visualization now as we're talking, as in if there's not a market for that. So rather than a sex club, like with swingers, maybe it could be there are giant cots. And people are dressed up and put in baby grows and put there to sleep. In fact, that sounds quite lovely.
How much are the fees for this per week? Because I know that there are parents out there who are saying they can't afford to pay for daycare.
Yes. And if there isn't a service, that could be a next business for us.
Oh my gosh, it gives a whole new meaning to that film, Daddy Daycare.
Yes. Maybe we could call it that, Daddy Daycare. Oh, that's fascinating. I bet you any money someone's going to come in and say, that is actually a service.
Seriously, this is a business model. We need to get off this.
Get off
this and go and build that business.
Yes. I'm straight on that after this. There's going to be somewhere.
We'll be back with our next episode of Taboo Couch. So catch us on Twitter, formerly known as X, or is it X formerly known as Twitter?
That
catch
one.
Us on Spotify, YouTube, Insta, TikTok.
The Bushka hasn't even been drinking, by the way.
Not yet.
No. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me. See you next time on
Taboo Couch.